Well, everybody, you know what they say. We are so back, and back we are to discuss Surviving Bloomington, Season 7, Episode 1. Welcome to Mischief Makers. Joined as always by one of my fellow Mischief Makers, Steven. Hey, Steven.
It's great to be back, and unlike you, I'm completely unspoiled and seeing this season as it unfolds, which is quite exciting. But it'd be remiss if I going from yet a different Surviving Bloomington season, so you have a full two generations to discuss this episode. And so joining me today, a person who voted me out, but I love her for it, Hannah. How are you doing?
It was one of the greatest regrets of the Survivor game, Steven. Why would I ever vote you out ever again, right? Wink, wink. So glad to be here. I love listening to your guys' recaps last season. Was so great, and I'm so glad you invited me to be on this premiere recap.
We are so excited to have you, Hannah, and even discussing about how we were on different seasons of Bloomington. The steps up from season 5 to season 6, and then another step up from season 6 to season 7 is very clear in this opening episode, and I am so excited to break it down. Let's just jump in. Let's talk about everything going on. Let's talk about the theme of Mischief Makers. Hannah, what do you think about Mischief Makers?
I love it. Casey does a great theme. I love it when he reveals it at the beginning, like the big speech, the big reveal. I think we have a lot of Mischief Makers. I love how we have Allison saying, I don't want to cause mischief. I'm not a mischievous person. I like order. I would have been on the order tribe. I'm pretty sure. Like, I like keeping everything in line. But that being said, I'm very excited to see what these powers bring into the game, and players that are like there to like literally just like cause chaos are gonna be really fun to watch.
I agree. We've already had a couple of people talking about wanting to buy these powers of mischief, which is something new from last season. It seems like a lot of the key stuff is very similar to last season. We have the bounties coming back. We have 4 keys can be exchanged for an extra vote. You can play keys as shots in the dark up to 6. We also have you can spend 2 safety keys on a power of mischief. Steven, is that intriguing to you, or are you just like, no, we're not doing that?
So, clarification question, because you were out there and I wasn't, and
Mhm.
maybe I missed the episode. They're drawing a card from a set of 10 cards.
Yes.
Are those cards with or without replacement? As in, if I draw a card and that's the power, no one else can have it. It's solely me, and the deck is now limited to 9, so we'll only have at max 10 mischief powers in the game.
When a card is drawn, that power belongs to that person, and it is not added back to the deck.
Okay, so at most we can have 10 people cash in for mischief powers, or one person multiple times. And did either of you stop? Well, Drew, you already spoiled. We don't care. Hannah, did you stop on the scene where like they kind of glance through some of the mischief powers? Did you read those?
Absolutely. Did you?
Yeah. So I think the 2 that I could read through, there was the keychain. You can
Yes.
play safety keys without giving up your votes, and then there was the key cutter. You can play keys on multiple people, right? So you still give your vote, but you can like shot in the dark allies as a result. And so I guess my takeaway is it looks like the mischief powers seem to be augments or upgrades to the pre-existing key power, and which I think will pose the question of like, if you buy the mischief, right, that alone isn't going to do much. You need more keys beyond that.
For some of them,
Potentially.
I'll say for some of them that is definitely the case. It's like I am giving up keys to get the ability to do something stronger with more keys.
Yeah.
Some of them. I will say, I guarantee you, every time one of these is purchased, we will have to discuss it on the podcast. I know on production, when going over them with all of production sitting together, we're like, but what if this happens with this? And then this happens with this? Doesn't that mean that this happens? There are a lot of questions that will be brought up, and I'm excited to talk about them as we go. Hannah, how interested would you be on spending keys on this versus using them for an extra voter safety?
Oh
Mind
man.
you,
Okay.
as a player, you haven't gotten to like get previews of any of the cards.
Yeah.
Can you? Do they draw them randomly, or do they get to pick which one?
I think it's
It's
random.
random.
See, that is like when Steven was reviewing them and when I was looking at them, I'm like, some of these I would get and I'd be like, dang it, that was a waste of keys. Like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want a bounty swap right now. Well, actually, maybe I would. But anyways, but like there could be one that you pull that you're like, this is not going to benefit me at all, and you just wasted half of an extra vote. And like we heard Danny say in this episode that they saw how well John and Rachel did, like playing the keys well, aligning with people, pulling your keys together, and like they want to do that more effectively. And it's like I would hate to waste keys on that.
Can we talk
So,
about
yeah.
that? Because do you think Danny had the correct takeaway from season 6 in terms of how to use keys?
I think so.
I
I don't
think
know.
if you look at the people who made the end game, like if you narrow it down to like the top third of the season, the final 6, you have Brady, who got a lot of keys. You have John, who was constantly playing and finding keys. You have Rachel, who was constantly finding and playing keys. But you have Daddy Matt, who played 6 keys to be safe. And then you kind of have me and Tyler. I don't do the advantage game. I'm not interested in the advantage game. That's not for me. I'd rather just actually be friends and rely on social play. And then Tyler didn't do anything with keys. So it's like, it's a mixed
lot of
bag.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because my takeaway, like, it's not like, as I think Danny was kind of honing on the more of the using them for extra votes versus immunity and saying like I need to play them in a more aggressive than defensive manner. But I think my takeaway from our season, Drew, is it's not simply the using, it's the getting that matters. Right. I think when you look at Rachel and John and like the players who got them, they were very aggressive and pointed about finding them and earning them and winning them in various ways. And so I think that would be my takeaway. So one thing I like this episode, I think it was Jacob has like, hey, I found 2 scrolls already. All I need to do is lose. I'm going to get like 2 more keys immediately. Right. And so I thought like and so I think being aggressive, finding the quests, like doing what it takes to get the keys. I feel like that was my takeaway from season 6. Not that these must be used for extra votes over immunity.
Yeah, I'm more inclined if I were to use them for immunity. I don't know. I would. 2 is so cheap though. 2 keys is so cheap, guys.
Yes, but it's also a third of a chance of immunity.
That's true. That's fair. Just win all the challenges.
And what the key is, no pun intended, is that all the players that you just mentioned that made it to final 6 last season is that they all like use the keys in different flexible ways. We had the like most amazing move ever with the extra vote play. Steven. And then we have Brady, who literally was able to survive because they threatened to play their keys. Like that helped them survive several votes. Anyways, so it's like like Steven, I agree with you. Like you just collect them, but then also it's like you see what you're gonna do with them. Like having them is step 1. Which player said that they wanted to work with someone to buy a power? Was that Gibby? You mean Gibby?
Gibble.
Gibble. Yeah, the Gibble. Are we giblets? Are we the giblets watching from home?
I forget who it was, but someone called him Gibby in their confessional. It might have been that girl Brittany. She's good.
It was Brittany. I was with Blue Tribe for this first like section of the game. The first day, I know for sure I was with Blue Tribe, and it was so funny because nobody could remember Gibble. Everybody was calling him Gibby in confessionals.
Gibby. Love it. Okay, anyways, I derailed it with Gibby.
So Ken, a question to you. So like the 2 keys for the Mischief Maker, when you hear Mischief Maker, like I guess you're told like, all right, 2 keys for a Mischief Maker, 4 for an extra vote, 6 for immunity. Do you feel like you immediately recognize like, all right, whatever this 2 is, it's not as good as an extra vote and this can't change the tide of votes? Or are you gonna like or you think someone's gonna be targeted, Hail Mary, buy it, and be like, well, this isn't going to help me and get eliminated with the power?
Oh, that absolutely is going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone's going to try to buy it like as a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and I don't think these are Hail Marys.
Yeah, they're the powers are not for sure. I think that like now that when you were talking about it, I was thinking through like, would I buy it? And honestly, I think it'll be so tempting for them if you have 2 keys in your pocket when you go up to vote. and you're like, "Ooh, I could spend these right now." Oh my
Yeah, and
god.
like spoiler
Casey's behind
alert,
the
yeah,
camera. You're like,
spoiler
"Oh
alert,
man,
when
my
you're in the voting booth, it's just sitting right in front of you, and it's like all you have to do is drop the 2 keys in. Hee hee hee. It's very that. I would be so tempted, and we know Danny and May both said that like as soon as it's, and I think Joelle maybe did too, said like when it's an option, like I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
All right. So Hannah, how many people? So we don't know who's going to lose yet. We don't know who's going to travel. How many purchases will be made in the first tribal council of Mischief?
I think we'll just see one at the first tribal.
Okay.
'Cause I think it might require.
I'll go 2.
I'll do 1.
I'll go 2. I think someone natural will have 2 keys. I think we will see a duo pair. So like keys to one another. I think we'll see some people being aggressive off the bat, and to an extent, I think it's actually good to be aggressive on this. All right, well, you're not under fire, and you can change your game plan accordingly to how your power is, and use it. Maybe like first you have this unknown ability that can maybe sway people, and second, especially if it's a team move, like I can play multiple shots in dark on multiple people. That seems like a good ally to me.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how aggressive or non-aggressive people are with spending keys this season. Last season, it felt like pre-merge was very slow for the most part. We get to the swap, and there's some action, obviously, on Steven's tribe with keys being played, but then keys really start coming into play post-merge. But to get to post-merge, we have to get there. Pre-merge. So let's talk about these tribes a little bit. Let's talk about the red tribe first. Hannah, what's your feel on the red tribe?
Okay, let me look at my notes. Red tribe was okay. So like up front, I know so many people on the season. Like it's like I didn't realize like how I ingrained in this LRG world that I was, that I'm like, wow, I know these people from all different types of games, and I guess that's how the players are this season too. They are ingrained, and they all know each other too. So there are so many people to root for, so many people that I've seen play before, whether like on watching an episode on YouTube or like in person. I mean, I even played an org with Francis. Like, I just like, there's all these people that I know. So, it's been really fun. And then obviously getting to know the new people has been really fun too. Red Tribe. We see Danny make their grand return to the Red Tribe. We love it. May said that she loved that she was not on blue. When I look at this tribe, we got May, Mira, Allison, Taylor, Zach, Joelle, Drew, Savannah, Ryan, Danny. There are so many people to root for.
I know,
and I've got like a dream alliance in my head, of who I want to see work together. Like when I saw Ryan and Zach walking and talking together, I was like, please be like the dream team duo. Like they are so great. Like I would love to see them be working together. They were popping in their confessionals. You could tell that they were both prepped and ready to go, and they're really really fun. And I want to see them kind of run things on this red tribe. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, you know who else is prepared? May. We see in her cast assessment or in the cast like introduction, that she has spreadsheets. She has who knows who's played in games with who, red flags, green flags, probably beige flags, like all this information about these people. She gets on a tribe with somebody who she's very close friends with, which is Mira. And I think it's very funny that Mira immediately makes it known that they're friends by accident. And May's like, hello? Can we not? That was very funny to me.
Yeah, Mira got my torch. Yay, Mira. She got my torch, so I was like, yay, all right. She's who I'm rooting for. And then she did that, and I was like,
ooh, yeah.
Whatever good vibes I had going with that torch did not pass along to her in that moment. Of like, Hannah would not do this.
That's funny. My torch was grabbed by Drew, so we
Love
are
it.
Drew all the way.
Drew.
And we'll be standing throughout the season. Stephen, what was your vibe on the Red Tribe?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have much to take away from this tribe.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you and I were chatting before, we were saying, this episode there's very kumbaya, and so we don't really get to hear. We hear snippets and little things in terms of emerging kind of friendships or potential, but we don't really get to see. We don't see very much anything concrete. So I don't really know where this tribe's gonna go. I mean, spoiler with Mira leaving, with Drew immune, I have no clue how this tribe's gonna break, and if they go to tribal council.
Yeah.
What about what about Zach dropping that he knows Joelle and that Joelle voted him out? What game is he referencing? I don't know.
I
what
have
game
no idea.
Okay, so I
we
want to
have
know the
that.
tea. Zach,
There's some
what happened?
like, doesn't Ryan have beef with someone?
So Ryan and Savannah.
Savannah.
So they played in a game together, and there was somebody else that I can't remember that was also in the game with them. And
Danny.
Savannah backstabbed.
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, Danny. Savannah backstabbed allegedly Ryan, but then somebody said something about like they were never on a tribe together. So maybe it was like something that happened at Merge where Savannah had backstabbed Ryan, but there is a little bit of beef there.
I
So
love to see
that's
it.
something.
I mean, I
Sorry,
guess
you
it's a
guys,
question
I
of
love it.
how much should like these past experiences color our current game experiences, though. I don't know. Being voted out by someone, it's something it is hard to forget, or at least you're
It's
not
hard
going to
to
let that
forget.
situation like repeat itself.
Yeah,
I would never
for
do it
me-
again, Steven.
I
Okay.
mean, let's be real, Hannah. I was outplayed by everyone in that tribe. So what happened to me, I deserved.
Yeah.
No, it's hard because how much do you weigh past relationships? It's like, yeah, this person has voted me out before, but like I know them, so there's a level of comfort. It's also interesting seeing people play games either in person or like through YouTube or whatever, because you get a grasp of how they play.
Oh, yeah,
And it's like, are they going to play like this again? Have they learned, grown as a player? Like if you compare my Bloomington to experience to my real foot experience, I played completely differently
Mhm.
and had very different outcomes. I don't know. Hannah, do you tend to take past game interactions into account?
That's so funny that you bring this up because I have probably like today, it's just been dwelling in my mind. I've just been thinking about LRGs as a whole of like this is what our world has turned into where like you're playing games you're going to know people. Like I was just thinking about this cast and like Casey loves the lore behind players. He loves everybody's stories. He loves what they create with the lore of their history and stuff. And so we're in this situation where like if you're going to go play a game, you have potentially the your past story of backstabbing people or if you played super chaotically, how do you go into this next game? We have Eric who is being said to have like the most connections out of everybody. He's the epicenter. And so like how is he supposed to juggle this and deal with this? It's very so all that to say, I've been dwelling on that and it's very interesting, like how that's a whole new layer with these LRGs that we don't see in Survivor only until they have returning seasons. And that is like a fraction of what we see in LRG world, which is really cool. Like, of course, pregame connections are not fun. And, we all love like a pure Survivor game, but it's a whole new layer that when in game theory is really fun to see.
And you add on the layer that in Bloomington, the cast lists are public, right? Everyone knows it's coming in, so that's why everyone can do the research. It's not like you open your eyes and there's Eric, like, well, I've kind of seen him before. Maybe I recognize him vaguely, but you don't know his everything. Versus before, it's like, oh, I can go watch all his games and do my research and stalk him on LinkedIn or all those things. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it really
is wild. Sorry, that threw me off for a second.
It really differentiates the good players and the great players and the not so great players about how you spin your past games and your past experience when you're meeting someone like Drew was talking about social game. It's all about the social game. It's like, how are you going to say how you did? When I played Bloomington season 5 All Stars. I was an All Star. What? Got my buff right here. Let's go. They're all blurry. So um so I had gotten 4th place in Survival Challenge, and no one there knew it because this was all like a Bloomington crew, right? They didn't really know Survival Challenge, but like if they said, "Had you played a game before?" Here I am. I'm going to say how I performed. I was I got 4th out of 24 players. Like that's pretty great. But I still pitched it as yeah, I got 4th. It was my first time. It was so much fun. I had an alliance and I stuck with it till the end. I'm so glad to play again. It's been years. I'm so glad to play again. Like
I'm
it's
actually
fun.
impressed you told
Yeah.
what place you. I would have said like, oh, I came in 9th. I was the merge boot. I would just like swap yourself with Desiree in the story
I,
and just roll with it.
I know. I was a little too scared to lie just in case anybody had seen it.
Gotcha.
Just in case.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have on this red tribe, we also have the pre-existing relationship of Taylor and Joelle, and
Mhm.
they are very, very close. They kind of have the John V connection as well. Taylor says that she's going to try and keep that a secret and try and keep her distance because, I mean, people know, but Taylor's like, we're
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna try kind of not to make it a big deal. We're gonna stay away from each other. So that's something. But otherwise, I mean, Red has been people are talking, multiple people mentioned like we're all just kind of sitting together and it's hard to break off except for
Yeah.
using the bathroom. We do see Zach find a scroll, but at least 2 other people saw him get that scroll.
Yeah.
Right.
Savannah, who was it? Savannah and May?
No. Was it Allison?
Allison. Yes.
Pretty sure.
So
And they
that's
both said that they were gonna wait to see if he tells them.
Well, he has
Which
to
is
know that
very-
they saw him.
I know.
yeah, I wonder if Zach knows that he was seen.
I don't think so. We would have gone at a confessional if he was like, "Oh shoot, I wasn't sneaky."
Yeah, the
So
other
it's hard because he
information.
doesn't know who to tell that he like if he knew that they saw, he would tell them. But
I
doesn't
love
know.
it's like the survivor thing of like you always look in the reward or the stuff or the starting supplies. We had a rice. There was a key in the rice in season 6, so I was like, how do you be smooth about this? Like just like rifle through and you say, "Look, I found a key." Woo! Then people shrug 'cause it's just a key and it's not an idol and it's more
Listen,
forgivable.
Steven, that's half of a mischief making card thing. Another interesting thing, I guess, on Red is that May and Ryan have each other as bounties, and May
Oh.
told Ryan, but Ryan didn't immediately tell May and was like, I might tell her later. I might.
Yeah, I mean, so Hannah, you didn't have the fun bouncy twist when you played.
Right, we just have keys.
What would you do without the information? Do you keep it? Do you share it? Do you just sit on it and wait and decide later?
My method of playing Survivor so far has been being pretty upfront and telling the truth with stuff. Are you the same too? So I think like in that moment when May told Ryan, I was very confused why Ryan is like, I think I'm gonna tell her. I should tell her. It's like you didn't tell her in the moment. You just like, took it
waiting
in.
makes it seem weird. I agree.
But I'm sure he played it good, played it well. But yeah, I feel like my method would be in one-on-one conversations. I would tell everybody who my bounty is. Like, I'm gonna tell you who I have. Tell like this hard thing. I'm gonna tell you, and then whoever is my bounty, I would tell them like, there's no way I'm gonna come for you. Like, you're safe. I'm telling you, I have you. You're safe. But I would probably, I could still vote them out. No issue.
Yeah,
I mean,
but never you, Steven. Never you.
It seems like a few people on Red just openly claimed their bounties. May, Joelle, who else did? May, Joelle, Savannah,
Mira?
and Mira. Those 4, it seems like just said who their bounties are because Mira said she knew who everyone was. She didn't.
That was amazing.
Well, so Joelle lied. I thought Joelle like had lied about it or something like that. I don't know. I was trying to take notes of Mira's saying, and like it seemed like things were getting split.
Mira got wrong who Joelle had, and then couldn't remember anybody else's. So last season we got bounties at the start of the game, new bounties at merge. My first bounty was Kim. Nobody on my tribe told anybody else who they had for their bounty, and Kim was immune the entire time I was on a tribe with her, and then was gone before the time I was on a tribe with her again. That didn't matter. Merge came around, I had Mackenzie, told her immediately. So I'm kind of in the same boat as Hannah of just tell the person. Like, it's a way to grow trust. It's a way to start something.
So I mean, so that's what I did last season. You know, I go to John and I tell him, like, look, you're my target, but I want to work with you. I have no intention of executing this, and I don't think, and maybe I think just for John, this was something that he kind of said, like, oh shoot, Steven now has reason to take me out, right? And I think that is possibly one of the things that leads to him deciding to vote me out at that 4-person tribal council. He's like, hey, Steven can come for me any moment. As we get smaller, he's gonna have the numbers. Let's just nip this problem in the bud and call it a life.
Sure.
Don't spook John. You know what? I'm wondering. I'm just gonna throw this out here, but don't. We can move on. But does John play like Boston Rob? Okay, continue with our discussion.
I don't feel like John does not play a heavy-handed game like Boston Rob.
I don't think John is as loud. John's not as loud of a player.
That's true. I do think he likes having control like Boston Rob does.
Oh, do you not?
And he might play a little scared. He might play a little scared like Boston Rob does. Okay. Anyways, it's not about season 6.
So, long story short,
Hannah and John are about to have beef on Bloomington All Stars too.
No, it's a compliment, right? Boston Rob's a great player.
I mean, I guess my takeaway is, like, I think if I experienced the bounty twists again, I would hold the cards closer to my chest.
Yeah,
sure. I could see, based on your experience, why you would do that.
And then that's the question. Like, I think what your strategies are the best is just like, I've now learned the hard way that maybe I should not be as open. Or at least I should have a better idea of how my target would react. Like, how would this information change the person's viewpoint of me? Hannah, in your case, if like you really trust me, like you might be okay, but Drew might be like, well, I don't know how I feel about Steven now.
You know what I just realized? Remember Danny's confessional? They're saying, I'm going to use these keys to the best of my ability. Danny got Taylor as their bounty. Taylor said in her confessional that she wanted to work with Danny.
Yeah.
And so, Drew, were you there when they pulled bounties? Like, do you remember what Danny says about
because we don't hear any confessionals. We just kind of see brief reactions when they pull the bounty.
Yeah, I was on.
I actually don't remember if Danny mentioned in their confessional.
Yeah, I was producing Blue all of day one. Yeah. So I don't know anything really that happened behind the camera on Red. I think mostly Ethan and Little Matt were on Red day one.
Okay.
And,
so
Seth and Little Matt, and then me and Ethan and Devontae were on Blue. But another thing I want to talk about with Red is Drew. We get not like a lot of Drew this episode, but we get a significant amount of Drew. Drew wins the donation contestant advantage by having the most amount donated on Red, which means he gets safety at first tribal. We get a puzzle canister.
It's a cryptex.
Okay, yeah, that word.
Come on, Da Vinci Code? No, go on.
Do I look anyway? So it is a 6-letter word that each tribe can guess unlimited tries. When your tribe loses immunity, your tribe gets a clue to that. When it's unlocked, it gets a key to open a box to give a team advantage that can be used, but it has to be used by the donation contestant.
Okay. I thought the advantage was in the cryptex. I'm like, why are they so mad about breaking the box? So this makes more sense.
Yes. So we get, and let me tell you, these people, anytime you're in camp, somebody has it in their hands trying.
I love it.
So I thought this was the puzzle boxes were nice last season, but they were something you conquer within 10 minutes. It was like a small icebreaker of nothing. And like both of our tribes, Drew, had the card immediately. It was just a matter of when do we use it. And if you're Mackenzie's case, you leave it at camp. But like in this case, like I love the fact that this will benefit the tribes that are losing. So if you have a tribe getting steamrolled, this is their chance to come back.
Yes.
I'm a fan of this.
Yeah, I think it's a big step up from the puzzle box.
Of course, I started thinking of 6-letter words that it could be. Just like the players, I thought of the word like on theme, like mischief and manage. I thought of manage. And then I went to my notes from when we were creating challenges for Survival Challenge season 10. So like 2 years ago, I was we created a challenge that needed 6-letter words. And so I had written a ton of survivor words that had 6 letters. So I'm going to read them for you right now. I have Borneo, tribal, beware, social, season, reward, legend, player, and Probst.
I will tell
I've been
you,
trying those.
Hannah, I will tell you, none of those are correct.
Oh my gosh. Is it on theme though? Is the word a theme? Like
Probably.
with the theme? You can tell us. It's already filmed.
No, don't tell us. We'll enjoy the reveal. I mean, Hannah, one thing I was thinking, so like players are kind of like, why is the note written in such a way? Why is it talking about like 1,000 years of bad luck if we break this box? So I'm curious.
I thought it was just Casey being funny, honestly.
It's just Casey being like, don't do it.
Really?
Well, then I would have gone down
I
the red
knew it.
herring trail and tried a bunch of random things surrounded that and never gotten the right word.
No,
You
it's
spiraled
so funny
so
though.
hard.
It was so funny because like people would just be like lounging around camp after a challenge, and somebody would be like laying on the ground, whatever, like fidgeting with it. And then somebody would be like, Rachel won last season. What if it's Rachel? And then like 4 people would like huddle around and then be like, no, that's not it.
Rachel's second child's birthday was on.
Right. No, it was very that. Which was really fun. Stephen, anything else interesting on Red Tribe on Hospitium?
Yeah, so we talked about a lot of the pre-existing relationships. Another one is Drew and Allison, both played, I believe, in the same season Survival Challenge 2023, I want to say. And I just love the moment where, like, because they don't have much time away from camp, they're walking either to or for a challenge, and Drew's whispering to Allison, "Let's work together." But he just whispers so loud that Allison's like, "Oh gosh, everyone's gonna hear this."
I think like it's one of those things where it probably wasn't that loud, but when you're Allison in that conversation, you're like, oh my gosh, did everybody just heard that? Like you're just like freaking out, right? And then also Allison, I loved her confessional when she was like, yeah, so I'm coming in, I'm gonna lay low. Already have not laid low though, so gonna try to bring that back. So we love the self-awareness.
I really enjoyed when given the donation advantage, I really enjoyed Drew's personal like sharing about his experience with his sons. I thought that was really touching, and I'm really glad Casey included that.
Yeah, agreed.
That was really nice.
So, question to you, like as a donation contestant, you have immunity the first round. You have this challenge advantage that should benefit your team. What is the best way to play the situation? The like give yourself the most ground leading to future rounds, right? Given that like you can kind of do whatever you want, not with impunity, but you have a lot of wiggle room. Like how should Drew be, I guess, taking advantage of the situation?
I think okay, so I am rooting so hard for Drew. He was first voted out of his tribe in Survival Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I really want to see him, not get first voted out. Like, so he's not going to. So the question is, does he play it like you do when you have an immunity necklace and you have the balls to like do a big move? Like you can actually try to go for people because it's definitely not going to come back on you. Or should he be playing it as if he didn't have immunity and he needed to get in those alliances and play it real low key? That's the question. I think he won't be able to help himself but try to have a voice in where the vote goes. I think he's going to try to play a little stronger because when you're safe, you just can't help. It's like HOH-itis, right? Is that what it's called? Where like you just can't help. You just like it happens to you, and I just hope it doesn't come back to bite him. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I do think that it helps that even though he is immune and doesn't technically like have to do as much work on that front, it does help that he has access to the team challenge advantage. Yeah. So it's like, well, if I'm involved in a group and I'm in the majority and I stay around beyond just the first tribal that we go to, eventually I will be able to help us with the challenge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I'd want to do with that advantage is like I want to get the advantage. I want to clutch it for dear life and never play it, and consistently use it to lead the like kind of string people along that to the extent they maybe don't want me around. Say like, hey, you need to keep me because I can use this for us going forward. So I don't know. I feel like when we talk about Eric, he'll be taking a much more proactive approach to his power.
Let's jump over to the Blue Tribe. I feel like Blue gave us a little bit more action this episode in terms of dynamics. Let's talk about the Eric of it all. Hannah, take it away.
Oh yeah, like I mentioned, Eric Gibble says that Eric is the most interconnected player, which whether that's true or
his
not,
face.
yeah, whether it's true or not, he says it to him, like, Gibby, come on, Gibby. So I've gotten to see Eric play Outlast season 1. I got to see him play Survival Challenge season 10. And I think is there any episode he's been in, like, I don't think I've seen a ton of his other stuff, but
Eric Gibble and Mira played a season of the challenge that ended like 2 days before Bloomington started. So Gibble and Eric are just coming off of that, where they were actively going against each other the whole time.
Right. I was glued to those live feeds. That was so much fun. That was the very first challenge thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was awesome. So when it comes to Eric, it's like, what is Eric supposed to do to win? Like, how is he supposed to, like?
That's like, it ain't happening. Like, is that what that means, Drew?
It's not that it's not happening. It's just like that. Like, Eric's positioning is going to be. It's going to be make or break in the first like 2 days of like the first 2 rounds.
I was like, again, but...
Yeah, well,
he's very confident. He's very confident on how he does in pre-merge, too. He says, "Oh, Golden got a pre-merge. Like, oh, this is gonna be easy peasy." So
we'll see. So, because he already has people coming after him, and he's already coming after people. So
let's give it. So like, Eric is self-aware. He knows how people are perceiving him. He knows what's going. Yes. He knows he's not coming in ignorant to how people are viewing him. And I think let's give him credit. He points out like there are 2 people who are not making eye contact, are not talking with me, right? And therefore, I know they are against me. And therefore, I already have targets in mind because they just made it easy, right? Trace isn't making eye contact, and Gibble, unfortunately, told him straight up, like, so, Hannah, did you watch, like, the Survival Challenge 2017?
The one with Adam Klein in it?
Yeah, Adam Klein. No, I guess this is 2016. This is the one season Ryan Kaiser won.
Okay, I don't think I've watched all of it, but I know probably somewhat.
Apparently, so that's the season that Spencer Bledsoe's on it, and there's this there's a player who goes to Spencer and says, like, I'm a huge fan. You deny my friend request. He says something like crazy and just like immediately sets Spencer against him the entire time. And this reminds me of this moment where like this opening interaction is now colored. The rest of their game permanently. They're not going to be together.
Yeah, it seems like Eric is taking a very black or white approach at the start. He's saying, hey, if you're not having fun, you're a target. Trace, you're not making eye contact. You're not giving me anything. You're a target. Gibble, we just got out of this game where we were targeting each other. You're a target. You're gone. And I think that's a very interesting way to play. Now, mind you, he's not saying this like to their faces. He's saying it to us. But I do think that it's interesting. Eric is also the donation contestant for
the Get Away with This.
So he can get away with being a bit of a menace for 1 round at least. Also, on the Blue Tribe, we get Carlos. We get a lot around Carlos and how people are a little bit thrown off by Carlos. Carlos is being very quiet. He says he's a slow burner. We have a couple people like I think Mariah had mentioned looking at Carlos. Eleanor said that she and Carlos seem to be kind of the same vibe. How are we feeling about Carlos? Because it seems like people might be viewing him as a little bit of an outcast so far.
So if we follow Eric's advice with how to make alliances, right? It's like eye contact, then vibes, right? And so we follow that advice. You never make eye contact when Carlos is wearing those sunglasses.
It's true.
Yeah. I think, the episode starts out, I think Carlos is one of the first confessionals. It was like such a really cool note to start the episode, start the whole season off with Carlos. He is smooth. He is calculated. You could tell he did his research. He is ready to come play. I love this type of player that, like, you can tell he has thought about what he's going to do, and he is ready to like play the best that he can. I got to watch him play Outlast season 1, and he played so well. And this is what he does. He is quiet. I mean, I don't want to like say this is how he's going to be or this is how he always is, but this is what I saw as well. He's quiet, and he's making those connections individually, where we have heard people in confessionals say that they are connected with Carlos, but like in the grand, group, like he's quiet, but he is observant, and he knows, I think he's figuring out what he's going to do, and I think he really endears people to himself in conversations, and I think the alliances that he makes are like so legit. So
they just have to be made. It just takes Carlos
Mhm.
a second to warm up to people to make
Mhm.
those alliances. And like we hear that Francis and Carlos know each other. They've played an online game or two together. And so Francis tells us in confessional, like, Carlos, you need to start doing
Yeah.
things. Like, we need you to step it up. I can't be the only one. Speaking of Francis, what a challenge performance from Francis in the Connect 4 challenge. Just like
that should have been the GIF I made.
Oh yes. I
yeah.
love in the challenge right before when I even wrote it down. I loved it so much when she says, "Good luck, but not too much." I don't know
Yes.
why. I just cracked up.
Yeah, I love Francis. Francis is so fun to banter with because the second you hit them with sarcasm, it comes right back at you. And I love that type of banter.
It was
Also
really
with
fun
Francis,
after they won the challenge, like everybody congratulating her on doing a great job, and she was even shocked. It was so fun.
yes, it was amazing. I love Eric giving Francis the shout out in confessionals. Also with Francis, not a single bad word about Francis from anyone. Everybody seems to be, I mean, we hear from 4 or 5 people like, I'm really liking Francis. We hear Francis included in this pitched alliance of like the Outcasts alliance of like, it's Maggie and Trace are like the base of it. And then they also want to include
Brittany and Eleanor, right?
Francis, Eleanor, and somebody else. I'm looking
Not
at the
Brittany, maybe.
maybe Brittany. Yeah, Brittany seems to be in this like in between
Yeah,
position. And Francis is like, well, I could try and get in with what does she say? The pretty popular people.
I know, that was so funny.
Hey,
And then it just like
Yeah.
cuts over to Eleanor and Brittany sitting in the hammock.
And they looked so pretty too. They looked so pretty and like, ah, ha, ha. Like I was like, wow, well, that was perfect clip right there.
hey, Hannah, Casey has a question for you real fast.
Oh, hey Casey.
If you are in this season, you're the 21st player. Do you know which team you want to start on?
Oh man, they aren't split like order versus chaos like last season, right? It's just red and blue. Oh man. Okay, so I was on blue season 5. So I would be inclined to be on blue, but let's see. I think I would want to be on red so that I could work with Ryan and Zach. Like that would be my little dream team right there. So that's where I'm leaning. Casey, thanks for the question. But if there was like a theme with it, if it was order versus chaos, I'm an order girl. I'm a beauty girl and I'm an order girl. So
One quick point about Carlos. I think I don't know if we've talked on a podcast or maybe it was the preseason podcast, the difference of the season having a full day of no vote outs versus immediately going into it, right? So it's a 5-day season, not a 4-day season. And one of the questions like, who will players benefit from this? How will things change? And Carlos seems to be a player who's probably going to benefit a lot because had his tribe from having that extra time to get to know people versus having, let's say he went to tribal council hour 3, he may be in more trouble, right? So he's definitely going to.
I will say that so this episode encompassed day 1. Like this episode 1 was essentially all of day 1. And I will say going to bed that night and talking with production, Carlos was one of my concerns for Blue. In terms of like, I'm a little bit worried for this person based on how other people were talking about them. We'll see if the overnight helps. But I don't know if one day is going to be enough for Carlos or.
I mean, I think that from just throwing stuff at the wall. I think the biggest advantage is that Eric is not going after Carlos, and so therefore, I think if you're going to put someone who's in the spotlight, I think Gibble followed by Trace might be in trouble, and it feels like Trace, given we kind of discussed this whole underdogs thing, may not be as much in trouble as Gibble maybe.
Yeah, well, but Gibble is one of the founders of this underdog thing. It's Gibble,
Never mind.
Maggie. Yeah, it's Gibble, Maggie.
It's going to be a battle,
Trace,
basically. It's going to be
Eleanor.
versus.
So all of the people that Eric is
can't vote out Eric in the battle.
Yeah, so all the people Eric is saying he wants to target are in that group, but also the people that Eric is working with are in that group because Eric and Brittany have clicked, and Brittany is a part of that group. Which is very interesting to me. I also want to talk about Jacob. Jacob has the most confessionals for the first episode. Jacob finds two advantages. One that's the piggyback advantage, which is if you vote incorrectly at tribal, you get a keep. And the other one is you just have to attend tribal.
Which is a hilarious advantage because it makes people really confused why the votes go the way they do.
Exactly. I love it. Jacob is a person who in the real time really got his people in line pretty quickly. We see him knowing who he wants to work with. He's pulling people into conversations. He's one of the only people that we hear about doing that. I'm trying to remember who in confessionals had mentioned like Jacob's talking to people.
I think several people mentioned him pulling people apart. I also have to say, he was a last minute ad, right?
Right.
I think
Jacob didn't know he was playing until like 2 days before. Yeah.
In your cast assessment, Jacob, it's so hard for me to say Jacob because when he played Outlast, production would call him JBR, and I wasn't there on production, but like I have friends on production, so I've known him in my head as JBR ever since. So like all my notes say JBR, Jacob Burklow Rogers, JBR. So Jacob, not JBR. Jacob, I was also a last minute player when I played, and so that, in my opinion, is kind of the best way to come in. And I'm so glad because he's played a game before, so he has reflected on his last game, like I reflected on my previous game, but you didn't have too much of the buildup and the anxiety and the anticipation. He just is going for it, and he clearly is going for it. People are clocking him. I don't think it'll come back to bite him. That they're clocking him because I think he's going to make those connections. We heard Eleanor say that she's not vibing it.
This is my favorite interaction of the whole first episode is Jacob being like, yeah, I'm locked in with Eleanor and I want to go with her to the end. And Eleanor's like,
no. But like, this is Eleanor's first game, right? And I don't think she's going to have the power to like do anything about it per se. But that's also someone who's not completely on your side, Jacob. So, yeah.
It's early. Things might change.
Yeah. I think he's a great player, though. So I'm very excited.
Jacob was one of the other people that going to bed night one, I was like, I don't quite know if Jacob is going to thrive in the morning. I mean, Jacob had a lot of goods and a lot of bads this episode.
So the bad's just that you have some people kind of mentioning Jacob's talking to people.
Well, and Eleanor declining a final 2 is not great.
He doesn't know though.
Yeah, it's like we don't get to see the interaction, so it sounds like he feels confident, but she's more sketchy. But it sounds like she at least said the words. She didn't say like nah. Like Eleanor, she at least said yes.
Yeah, that's what you do. Good job, Survivor 101.
Yeah, I think her exact verbiage was something like, so I told him like I'm just feeling it out.
Yeah, but like I feel like if Jacob was told that, he would have like expressed like I'm a little bit more worried about her.
That's fair. Yeah. We also get Mariah. We got a CBS Survivor player on Bloomington. Mariah is ready to go. She's ready to win. One of my other favorite moments of this episode is Mariah being like, yeah, so they're going to do an all-girls alliance. Hate that, not doing that.
I was so sad when she said that. I was like, it was a roller coaster. I was like, woo, go, no.
Yeah, Mariah is a boy mom through and through, and it seems like she's looking at Carlos as a potential ally.
Yeah, and we hear that Eric identifies Mariah as like, hey, this is someone that's like, come on down. I want you on my team. And so I'll be curious to see, like, because I don't feel like we hear a ton about her from other people.
Right.
Mariah and Carlos could run that tribe without the tribe even knowing it. Not gonna like I could just I don't really know how Mariah plays. I know she's played other live games, which I haven't seen, but she is so great. I loved her confessionals. I could just if her and Carlos work together, dream duo, that would be amazing.
I love that duo. I am going to turn off my camera for a second because there's something I need to send Steven to show later.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Like,
all right. See you in a second. Oh, that's
the
fun.
game is beginning, Hannah.
Yes. So I want to also, speaking of fun confessionals, I want to bring up Maggie. I think Maggie's confessionals were so fun right off the get-go. She was popping. She was so bubbly and she was so intense. Like I see kind of a lot of myself in her, I think. I don't know if maybe it's just because like when in the videos when like uh you see the back of her, I'm like, oh, is that me? No, it's not me. But her confessionals are so fun. I'm so excited to see Maggie play, and she's one of the new people that I don't know that I'm super rooting for.
I loved her like Eric dilemma, right? She's like, Eric is my bounty. What do I do with this? I don't know. But he's so fun and likable. Just like how do I wrangle
Yep.
with the person?
Okay, I think Maggie may be in the best position currently. She was approached by Gibble for an alliance. Gibble told Maggie that he has her as a bounty. Maggie is involved in this like underdogs alliance that's being pitched. And I love that in confessional, she's like, okay, hold on. I need to think through everything real quick. There's a lot
Yes.
happening. And she goes systematically through each thing happening and is like, okay, this is how I feel about this. This is my plan for this. And I just love that for her. Somebody else also says in confessional at some point in the episode that they have felt like they've gotten to know Maggie and really want to work with her. I'm trying to remember who that was. There's so many people still in.
No.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was, but I think one of my bold takes is that I feel like what we've been presented shows that Maggie is maybe in the best position on Blue.
Right. I think that there is like a lot of people that would be in those like middle positions, like we've been talking about, like the Eric contingency and the Gibby contingency. Sorry, Gibble, I'm gonna be calling you Gibby now. Like that's official. But I think that Brittany is also whether she knows it or not, I think she's in a really good spot too. I think that a lot of people want to work with her. She's obviously really easy to get along with, it seems like from the clips we saw. Yeah.
I know like we heard Mariah kind of saying no girls allowance, but I don't think a woman's going home first on this tribe.
Right.
Well, the boys are the ones having beef and issues and getting like pulling people into conversations, and yeah, the guys are definitely the more out front players on Blue. Anything else about Blue before we talk about these challenges?
I'm good.
Okay, let's talk about the first reward challenge. We got some Connect 4. Nothing notable in this challenge at all.
The first reward challenge is like the tree puzzle at the very end.
Oh, yes, that one.
Drew, were you there, Drew? I'm not sure.
I don't remember that challenge. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't remember. I was probably doing something else. I remember playtesting it, but I don't remember the actual like event.
I love how Casey edits challenges. When it comes to Survivor, I'm not a challenge girly. I like when something dramatic happens in it, but that's it. And like I've said before, Ethan and Casey are the dream team. The video person and the editor makes beautiful stuff, and I love how Casey kind of yada yadas challenges. I'm like, perfect. That's all I need. Just kind of give me some good clips with some good music and show me who wins. Perfect. Love it.
We got to see all the parts of the challenge. We got to see who was doing what. And then 20 seconds later, we have a winner. It's great. It's perfect.
Yes.
I actually thought that Red was gonna pull out the win. Like I was like, man, I think Danny's seen this puzzle before. I don't know if Danny definitely didn't do it in our season.
Danny did
like,
not do it. This
but
challenge was at Final 5. The tree puzzle was at Final 5, and it was just me and Daddy Matt doing it.
But that tree puzzle, because I know Melly and I both gave that tree puzzle a shot. So I know that puzzle was sitting out for people experiment. So like, okay, I think Danny's putting for it, and like at least from the editing, made it seem like, oh shoot, they're catching up.
Yeah,
I think their issue was that Danny and May started trying to put it together flat, and that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea, but it's not, because you can't pick it up.
Okay. But they were already behind, so they had to try it all. But can we talk about Connect 4?
Yeah, let's talk about Connect 4. Gibble and Mariah win the first reward challenge on the tree puzzle. Okay, Connect 4.
Okay, so my question for you, Drew, was like, were there any rules that we didn't hear with this challenge? Like May and Gibby went so hard when that table fell over. Like the board was gone. The chips were gone, but they were trying to get that last chip in. So like, was there anything in particular?
The rules that were presented, it's like when you get one in, you go place a thing. And so we start the first round. They're in the first round. They get them in, or they get to the board close to the same time, and both want the same slot. So they're fighting for it. They fall over. The board breaks, which is why me and Griffin have to come out and hold the board the rest of the challenge.
Right.
And Casey yells at them, which was very funny. Casey like yells at them like, hello, use common sense.
I love a teacher voice.
And we then make exactly. After it broke, it was determined that Griffin and I, as people approached the table, and you'll see it, it's like as they're approaching, we say, okay, you're here first, then you.
I was wondering, okay.
Yeah, it seemed like that's what happened later on.
It was once you get up there, because then, of course, people try to game the system. One thing about this cast, and I'm going to rant about this a lot, this cast has so many rules questions. It's crazy. They try to figure out how to game every single little thing.
These are people that have played games before.
Yeah, because somebody sits there and they're like, so what if it's my turn and I just don't place one and I cause like a line to build up? I'm like,
you lose your spot and move on.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, for each person,
we're
gonna do a countdown. I don't remember. Everybody on this cast, it was like obsessed. It was like May asked a lot of questions. Danny asked a lot of questions. It was like just like trying to figure out the little ends to like game the system
without asking. He would do it without asking permission. He would just That's why Eric is like Dr. Will, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we then have to say, like, on top of me and Griffin calling the order that you get to place, also now we have a countdown for each person. And if you don't place your thing within that time, you go to the back of the line of placement.
Love it.
So, but those rules were not, we didn't know that we would need to come up with those rules until after that happened. Exactly.
Yes,
better to ask for forgiveness. Casey told us this last season, Steven. Do you remember him telling us, like, not everything is going to be super clear. If you do something and I don't catch you, then, like...
But now we have rule lawyers. So what's interesting about this challenge is, like, you've all played Connect 4, right?
Yeah.
You all know the strategy around how to play Connect 4, right? It's all about control of the middle. And like you want to play more aggressively.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I trust you on that.
I might have been like, go ahead, Steven.
And so, like, everything breaks down when you don't alternate turns, right? And as soon as you don't alternate turns, you can do so much. You can play so much wilder, right? And I think that was interesting. Like, I don't know how much people were internalizing how to do that differently. And so, like, I was really curious about that. Can I tell a small story?
Yeah,
let's do it.
One of the first reward challenges I ever did in Pirates Survival Expedition 2017 was a Connect 4 challenge. However, you had to race over a small hill and place your piece and race back to tag the next person. And you know what makes playing this often really hard? When you're running back and forth and trading out members, it causes people just not see the board, and the game goes very quickly.
We had a lot of players make some stupid moves. Honestly,
Mariah almost lost in the challenge.
Yes, it just happens.
And that's what
Yeah.
happens when you have the adrenaline and it's going fast paced and you have to like quickly make a decision. Like we would all make those bad moves in the
Yes.
moment.
After this challenge, we see that Mira is struggling a little bit, and Hannah, what was your how are you feeling like this would progress?
I was not uh let's see. I was not feeling good.
Yeah.
I listened to Mira did a podcast with Steven and one other person about like
Um,
Nina, it was Nina.
Nina. Yeah.
Yes, about diversity in games. How would you what was the title of it, Steven? It was like just like how to be more open to like people's different ability levels.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be
Let me find the exact title.
but it was a great podcast about it. And then Mira in the podcast, she like hinted that something happened in Bloomington that they handled really well. And I was like,
Disability inclusion and allergies.
inclusion, thank you. And I was like, oh no, oh, what's about to happen? This is probably what she was referencing. What's about to happen? Um, and so we didn't get the final. And then, of course, I'm sure a lot of people, when you're watching the YouTube video and you see that, like, when you watch Survivor too, when you see that there's only like 5 minutes left of the episode, you're like, I think I know what this means. There's not a tribal. There's something else happening. And so I kind of had predicted what was about to happen. And then when we get sorry to cut ahead, but when we get the reveal that she had a straight on concussion that she was dealing with.
She got a
It's like,
concussion during the challenge game that she had
yeah,
played, and it was unrealized. And then this kind of like event she was like, okay, I'm making a doctor's appointment for Monday. And like she went and like messaged Casey back and was like, yeah, I have a concussion. So
she
yeah,
like
that
she knows her
was
body, like as we all do, like that when something is off and something is wrong, and like she like obviously like she wasn't able to recover and
Mhm.
like was struggling, and I'm so glad that she got medical attention, but it was so sad to see her get out. I was rooting for her. A
not a
severe
severe
concussion, she says.
concussion. No,
Severe.
it was scary. I mean, the only medical people really that we had out there. I mean, we hear Casey
You?
calling for Megan. Megan's a nurse. I'm a
Megan up
pharmacist,
there.
so I'm like, I can help you with drugs. Like when she first started feeling faint, that like you'll hear me being like, we need salt, like we need electrolyte.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I thought it was
so
going heat exhaustion first from hearing you say that.
yeah, and so that we did that, and the order of operations was kind of we have that challenge, we have Mira stay back, the tribes go back to camp, so Mira doesn't go back to camp after that challenge, and does not meet back up with the tribe until they come back that night.
Mm.
So that red tribe had, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 hours where Mira was with production. And Megan and I were left the decision of like, do we forcefully pull Mira? Is she going to pull herself? And it was kind of a discussion between the three of us, and we kind of mutually agreed. And
Yeah.
Mira knew, like Mira was fully like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea for me to keep going. So we agreed that like we would count it as like a pull. And yep, so
Oh, that's so hard, Drew. I can't
Mm.
imagine. We've had that happen at Survival Challenge, and it's so rough to make that call.
yeah, I mean, Mira knew what she needed, and Mira has been on this amazing journey. I mean, she says she lost 100 pounds before doing this, and I know that
Oh,
that was
good.
something that she was still going through that journey. And I'm excited because Mira better be on season 8
Oh,
um,
redemption.
for redemption. Uh, I'm so sad. I wanted to see Mira play.
For those listening, she did put in a chat that she's doing 100% better. Yay. Good job. I mean, well done. Let's see you come back and destroy Bloomington or any other Survivor game that you play. I'm rooting for you.
Mira, in the chat, did you know who you wanted to vote out if you went to the first level
Oh,
council?
yes. Give us the tea.
Yeah, Mira,
Yeah,
who
like-
did you want to vote out? Don't spoil anything about like social dynamics necessarily, but like who would you have wanted to go after? And while we're waiting on that response, anything else about this episode before we start to transition into some fun stuff, some logistics?
Team Rachel took their first hit in terms of the cast drafts.
It's true.
Lauren, Drew, and I are doing okay. Have our full team still.
I did want to mention one thing about Drew is that I really like the confessional where he says he's going to keep information to himself. He said that he's going to keep his cards close to his chest. I think that and it kind of gave the connotation that he's going to be a little sneaky and chaotic with the information. But I wrote a note to myself that normally we see like an older player or an older male player like be upfront and loyal and like plays the old school game of like this is how Survivor should be played, or like but I love seeing the older player, probably the oldest player to play Bloomington. I love seeing him start taking the path of the sneaky route. I love seeing
I
that.
love it, and he's a judge, so he probably doesn't get to like do that sort of thing.
Hopefully not.
Also, can we talk about, speaking about age? Mariah is 50. Where?
What?
Like in dog years? Like where? Crazy. I love it. But
we have some tea from Mira, by the way.
Okay, Mira, spill.
I was
She
going to
knows.
vote Drew out first, but he was immune. So instead, the goal was to target Danny.
Wow.
Pulling that off
Thanks,
would have been a
Miranda.
coup, I think.
Thanks, Mira, for sharing that. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, and I
Love
mean,
it.
based on what we're seeing, it seems like
I don't love what you were going to do, but I love the information.
yeah, along with Mira, I feel like based on what we've seen comes May, and then maybe also comes like Taylor and Joelle. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it plays out, but that's our recap of the episode, unless there's anything else that happened in the episode we want to chat about. Awesome. Okay. So, very fun thing that has happened. So, Steven likes to make GIFs, and Hannah coincidentally also likes to make GIFs or GIFs if you pronounce it wrong. I do not like to make GIFs. I've never done it before. I am technology illiterate. But wait, which one of you thought it would be fun to have a GIF off, or was it Casey? I don't
It was
remember.
KC, right? That's
Yeah,
his
I'm like, I don't think it came from me.
Casey suggested that Hannah and Steven have a GIF off. So Steven has collected some GIFs that he has made and that Hannah has made of fun or interesting or empowering moments from the episode. And I'm excited to see them.
Hannah, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Do you want me to introduce like all of my gifts or one at a time?
So let's go one at a time.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna go through.
I'll introduce. Yeah. This moment from Ryan is my first submission, Drew. I just thought it looked so shady and so like side eye.
The eyebrow is what's getting me. The like raised eyebrow.
Yeah, don't mess with him. I love it.
And just nobody else paying attention.
Yep. So that's my first submission. Oh, here's my second one. All right, my second submission is one of the best confessionals of the whole episode. Is we've got this sweet, fun, bubbly Zach, and then all of a sudden he says, I can't wait till the blood starts pouring. And he giggles and he says the anticipation is killing him, the buildup. And that is a true Survivor gamer player right there. And I can guarantee that nobody on his tribe knows that he has this within him, that he is scheming this hard and he's going to play this hard. I bet he's coming across so lovely and charming, but inside is rage. And
I will say, I don't remember who it was on that tribe, but one person was like, Zach is lovely. I'm really getting along with him, but he's doing that with everyone. So like at least one person caught on to it. I'm trying to remember who it was, but I'm so bad.
That person better just get on his good side.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to show my third one? All right. And then another iconic confessional. Who will be able to forget this confessional from this premiere recap is when Mariah says, you don't come to play. Because if you come to play, you're not going to win. But I came to win, right? Is that what she said? I don't know. I might be.
Yeah,
She says.
she says there are two types of players. There are players who come to play. There are players who come to win. If you play, like, yeah, you're gonna play, but the people who come to win make it further. And I came to win.
It was epic, goosebumps worthy, and that's why she got my third gift. I came to win. But please work with women. Please make a girls' alliance, please, Mariah.
No, not in Mariah's
We need to see
house.
what happened. We need to see what happened.
So technically, Hannah made 6 gifts, but for some reason I can only download 3. But you can see them all embedded in the email she sent me going at
you
once.
can see another one of Mariah saying, "I'm ready," and then I had made one sent twice, but I had made a Gibby gif.
A Gibby gif.
Gibby.
All right, Steven, hit us. What you got?
All right, so mine's gonna be more episode chronological. Hold on. So
oh my gosh, this is from me. So Carlos was my winner pick pregame, and the entire time they're like setting up around camp, Carlos just stands there and like, what? In my head, I'm like, what are you doing? Watching the women do all the work.
He's empowering them, Drew.
I just thought that was so funny, and I've had that clip saved on my phone for so long of him just watching them put the tent up.
Love it. He looks great.
All right.
All right, ready for these gifts, Steven?
All right, Steven.
What do you got? What do you got for me? You can't beat mine. I got the best. Oh, okay. Well,
I just like there's gonna be a theme through all of these, and the theme is Eric. And it's just like this is like one of our first real introductions to Eric in the episode when someone else is talking about him. It's just Eric just like flaunting this outfit that someone put together for him, and it's just like amazing.
The claw is what gets me. The claw at the end. Oh my
god. Tattoos, my goodness.
Posed up.
Have to do the first reward challenge mainly because like the tree just falls down immediately as soon as Mariah slams the table. So I thought it was a great
epic.
Memorializing their victory here for Gibble and Mariah for
Bam, that table. Bam.
Very smart people. Gibble and Mariah are both very intelligent, and I'm not surprised at all that they killed it on the puzzle.
I love Gibby's shirt, for the record. Like, that is such a fun shirt to bring for your told blue shirt. You bring that. I love it.
All right, so this is a Maggie confessional with her discussing about Eric, and I just love it. She's like, he's so nice, he's so funny. It's just like she's struggling with like what should she do with Eric given that he is her target.
Right, and like she's clocking him, but she's like, oh, he's so nice though.
He's such a threat, but I like him. Yeah, it's hard. I love Maggie.
The 2 more Eric gifts. This I call Alliance Building 101, where Eric is describing like his approach to being a golden god in the pre-merge.
Yep,
Eric is
Eric gifts.
I will say one thing about Eric. Eric is very confident and does not come off as cocky or arrogant, and I love it. I love when a player is confident in what they're doing. They are excited to talk to the camera. I mentioned this in the cast assessment. Eric, whenever we did confessionals for him, was like, okay, I'm going to stand here, you stand here, shoot me at this angle. I'm going to start by doing this, and as I do it, zoom out. It was great. I love Eric's confidence, and Eric knows what he's doing.
He does.
With the camera, he knows what he's doing.
In front of and behind the camera, yep.
So this next one is a shorter clip of this same scene because it's just specifically him just going vibes as like how he's reading the players. And this, I think, this is my favorite gift.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's such a Survivor specific thing. Well, not Survivor, like LRG specific thing. It's like, okay, 5 minutes in, I like your vibe. Like, it's such a Survivor thing. It's very fun.
And of course, how can we talk about this episode without the demolishing of the challenge?
They're still going.
Zach in the background is my favorite part of this gif.
I didn't even notice. He's just like,
I'm
wow,
so
this
glad
happened.
that's in the gif because I did not pay attention to Zach that whole time. And that's
he's like, should we stop? Or okay, no, we're not stopping. Okay.
His whole body. What?
Casey is just frozen. Oh, so good.
And then, this was already kind of long enough, so I made a second cut. so you get to see the following camera angle of them just going down.
And May just lays there. It's so funny. They were just laughing so hard.
They just kept going for it. Like it's literally falling. All the pieces are gone, and they just can't not do it.
So good.
And so
My heart breaks.
And so this is a bit hard given with the lighting, as well as like we get a lot of ending credits scrolling through it. But there are two pretty clean angles. I think this is May hugging Mira, and when Mira kind of gives the news to everyone that, hey, I need to go for my health. And then we get a bit of a longer one, Taylor and Joelle hugging it out with her at the very end, right as the credits begin to scroll over Joelle.
Oh, it was so hard. What a sad ending to it, but yeah, now Mira has the gifts to remember.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Mira back on my screen doing something, whether it be Bloomington or another game soon. I know she had mentioned that she really wanted to play Survivor style games, so I'm very excited to see more, hopefully.
Right. So, Drew, any favorites? Not that Hannah will hold it against you, but also people in the chat. And any favorites? Should we do more gifts in future episodes?
I love the gifts. I think my favorites are, well, the Connect Four, it goes without saying. Like, that's so good. Every person in the frame is so good. Like, Jacob is fully focused on the challenge. Zach is having an existential crisis. Gibble and May are having a WWE match. Casey's just frozen trying to figure out what's going on. It's perfect. It's a perfect gift. I really like Mariah's I'm Here to Win. I really enjoy that one. Yeah, I came to win. The determination on her face. And then I really like the Eric vibes. Those are my top three. Those are my top.
That's the one you have to see. Like that just like the hands up, everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, those are my favorite three for sure.
I thought this episode delivered us very giftable content, which was much appreciated.
Yes. Any other favorite moments or quotes from the episode before we move into Bloomy points?
Point to May for the episode quote of Mischief Mingled Madness.
Yes.
That was a great quote.
May had a lot of fun confessional quotes in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Like when production is like, "Did you find any keys?" And she was like, "Girl, no. I did not
know.
find anything." That was, yeah, that's funny. Okay, let's get into Bloomy points. For those who have not watched before, we base these off of Chizzy points from the Rob Has a Podcast Survivor coverage. The way we do this is each episode, each panelist is going to assign 6 points to the players who they feel are having the best. It could be a lot of different criteria.
Now,
it could be players who are best positioned, players who are having the best episode, players who made big strides in their game. Steven, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just realized you can still give 3 points to Drew every episode.
It's true.
Oh my gosh.
I think I only gave 3 points to myself once last season.
So, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm not. But yes, we're each going to do a 3, a 2, and a 1. And like I said, you can use your own criteria. It can be who you think is set up the best. It could be who you think had the best episode. You are allowed to give them to eliminated players, or the player who was like voted out or eliminated in the episode if you would like to. But
I've given points to KC. I've really thrown off Drew's tracker.
I had to add a KC row last year on my spreadsheet.
Yes.
So let's start it off. I will give my 1 point. I was so torn between 2 people. I'm going to give my 1 point to Francis. I think Francis is well positioned socially. We don't hear anybody saying anything bad about Francis in confessionals. In fact, we hear the opposite of multiple people saying they like Francis. Francis's name was included in this proposed Underdogs alliance with Maggie and Gibble. Francis had a very strong challenge performance in the Connect 4 challenge, ultimately winning that for them by getting like 3 in a row. And I just think Francis had some really fun moments in the episode, like before the challenge where she's like, good luck, but not too much. Or like just the stuff like that I find to be very fun from Francis. The injury counter, Francis, I don't know about that. It feels a bit much to me, but
I
who
think
am I to
Mira's
judge
winning
for
on
doing?
that, unfortunately.
Yeah, who am I to judge for doing too much? You do you. Hannah, who's your 1 point going to?
Okay, so I've written 3 people down. So I'm right now I'm trying to figure out the 3, 2, 1 of it all.
I guess technically you
I
could do a 2-2-2. We did do that a couple times last year.
I'll stick to 3, 2, 1. I will give my 1 point to. Oh, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm going off script, but I'm gonna give 2 points to Frances. I'm just gonna jump on the Frances train, but she's getting 2 points from me. Um, I also agree, like with everything Drew said, she's on my list of everybody mentioned her, and not everybody, but a lot of people mentioned her. She's positioned really well, and I think that that's all the information we have right now. We have not seen a vote, but I think that I think she has a good read about what's going on. Like even when she uh like Eric wants to work with like Francis and Brittany, like we heard about the like I think Francis was saying that they all 3 of them were walking together and Eric was like, I feel good about you guys. And Francis of course is like, yeah, but like in her mind she's like, I don't know. But once again, no one is clocking that she's like, I don't know, but she's making a lot of people feel good about her, so she gets my 2 points. My 1 point will go to JBR, Jacob Berkler Rogers. He gets the points for coming in, playing hard. That's what you have to do with these games usually, is that you have to kind of hit the ground running, which he is by running off with everybody. And he also found keys. So
Yep.
that's why he gets my 1 point.
Steven.
So I'm giving my 1 point to Danny. I think Danny came this season in a very weird situation where everyone would know what he's done, what they've done. I mean, both LRG experienced players and non-LRG experienced players. And I think we haven't seen as much from the Red Tribe, and a little worried that Mira's like, I think I want to take out Danny out first, but I felt good about Danny watching this episode. I like Danny kind of saying how much what they're. While I may not agree the full takeaway, I like Danny's like analysis and takeaway of what was successful last season, what they want to replicate. So 1 point to Danny.
Yeah, Steven, what about your 2 points?
2 points, I am going to Maggie. I think you all talked up Maggie a lot this episode, and I'm on the Maggie train as a result. I think so. I'm solo Maggie's position in the middle, and avenues in different alliances, and I will pay more attention to Maggie's confessionals going forward.
Yes.
I love Maggie. Yeah, I am also going to break format, and I'm splitting my 2 up between 2 different players. So I actually have a 3 and then 1-1-1. So 2 other people who are getting 1 points from me are going to be. I just couldn't decide between them. Eleanor and Brittany. I think they're very
definitely
positioned. I mean, even the shot of them in the hammock together, they are very similarly positioned in the game where their names are being mentioned that people want to work with. Eleanor gets approached for a final 2 by Jacob. Eleanor's vibing with people. Brittany's name is thrown out as somebody Eric wants to work with. Both of them are thrown out as potentials in this underdog alliance. So I'm going to split up my 2 between them. And then my 3 points is going to Maggie. I agree with what
Maggie
saying about Maggie. I think Maggie is probably the best positioned on this tribe from what we've seen. She knows who has her bounty, whereas we don't see any other discussion on Blue about who has whose bounty. And everything else Steven said. I think Maggie's really good. She came into that confessional. She's like, sorry, there's a lot going on right now. I'm going to compartmentalize each thing and talk through it. And she was able to. I also love Maggie's happy high idea, just to start conversations by happy high. So my 3 goes to Maggie.
You want me to do my 3 next?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I am giving my 3 to Zach. Not only was he amazing entertainment in this episode, I loved all of his confessionals, but we've seen a lot of people say they want to work with him. And in his confessional, he says that like Joelle voted me out. I know Joelle voted me out, but Joelle doesn't say anything in his confessional. So it's like Joelle doesn't know that potentially Zach might want to go for him, because I think that would be potentially part of the story of this first episode, if that was a thing. So like I think Zach is making people feel really good about himself. The two people who saw him get a clue didn't say in their confessional, he needs to go because I saw what he got. They're like, oh, I wonder if he's going to tell me. I wonder if he's going to tell me. So I think about when I played Surviving Bloomington Season 5 All Stars, and I was on the Beauty Tribe with the eventual winner, Jordan, and I knew that she had gotten an idol. I never told her, I never told anybody, but when I saw her go have a confessional, all of a sudden her confessional is crouching behind a tree with the person filming, and I'm like, I know what that means. She's taking something out of her bag and showing the camera. I knew exactly what was happening. And me being in an alliance with her, I'm like, I hope she tells me. But like, I'm excited for her. This is going to come into play later. Great, awesome. So that's one of those things where I think those two people are like, I hope he tells me, but if not, I'm going to work with him.
I don't know. It felt more like a landmine the way they're describing it. I felt more like, he better tell me if he values me as like a future alliance member. I was more worried than excited when I heard.
I will say,
social game enough.
Bloomington has a knack for people finding things and getting caught doing them. I mean, last season it happened a couple times. Rachel. Well, I stumbled onto the idol. Let's be very clear. I was not searching for an idol. I stumbled onto the idol, and Rachel was with me. Hannah, you caught Jordan having an idol. I mean, Zach got caught by at least two people. Steven, who are your 3 points going to?
My 3 points are going to Jacob. You know, I think if Danny is, I feel like Jacob is living out the advice Danny is giving unknowingly. And I think given kind of the hecticness of the game, I think playing a more upfront early game is not a bad thing. And we haven't heard no one's been like sketched out. Yes, there's been people noticing, but no one's like, boy, Jacob's playing hard, is he? He needs to go. We're not hearing those lines. We're just hearing like, yeah, we see Jacob talking, but everyone seems to be liking Jacob. And Jacob is going to have the ability to potentially purchase some mischief soon. So I think Jacob, played pretty well for this first episode. So look at my 3 points.
This is so exciting. We have 7 different players getting Bloomy points. That's so fun. That's very rare.
Next time I'll just have 6 people getting 1 point each. We'll just spread the love everywhere. We'll break all rules and traditions.
I'll just give all 6 of mine to one person next time.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll have a vote, so we'll have some more information about like, what actually is gonna happen. I'm like Zach over here. I'm like, let's get the blood pouring. Let's see.
Blood pouring. Hannah wants another medevac.
Hannah, don't do this.
You heard it here first.
But yeah, that's what we have for this episode. Hannah, any closing thoughts?
I loved getting to watch season 6 in person. It was such a joy, especially watching my best friend play and win. Like, it was a blast watching Rachel play and getting to meet you, Drew, and getting to meet a lot of people. And so not getting to go in person for the season was so hard. But because your girl was over here pregnant, so that was important. I know, now I'm a mom. My gosh, responsibilities. But anyways, all that to say, I've been very much looking forward to watching these, spoiled free, like not knowing what happens. Man, I hope I can come this summer with my baby in tow and get to watch in person again. But if not, these episodes are amazing. Casey, what you do is incredible. So,
Steven, closing thoughts.
Excited to see what's gonna happen. I'm excited to see a tribe with the tribal council and just kind of flesh out kind of the groundwork that was laid here. So it's gonna be fun.
Yes, and you can watch Surviving Bloomington on YouTube. You can also follow Surviving Bloomington on Facebook and Instagram. I know for sure. I don't have either of those apps anymore, so I don't know where else Surviving Bloomington is. And don't forget, as always, to follow Live Reality Games on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe believe, Twitter. Anyways,
we have a Twitter. I certainly don't tweet. Maybe Dustin
Oh,
does.
and Steven uploads the audio as podcast, which is I'm very grateful for because
yes,
I'm a podcast girly, so that's where I
yes.
listen.
Until then, we have the next episode. Episode 2 comes out this Saturday.
Yes.
I'm so excited to watch because I'll be at KC's watching it. And we will be doing the next episode of the podcast next Thursday, where we will be joined by James Hayden. And that will be very fun. But until then, I am very happy that my draft is still intact. Team table, that's Taylor and Gibble, are standing strong, unlike the table in that reward challenge.
You're sure it's not
so ironic?
Kibble?
It could be. But until then, stay strong, rest of the giblets watching alongside us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.